All right, let's do this. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the newest episode of the 2021 NFL Mock Draft. People usually know me as Junior, good old JR, Hot Rod, whatever, man. I'm all for it. Doesn't matter to me. I have a very good guest, very dear friend of mine, old Army friend of mine. Yes, don't let the way fool you. I used to be in the service, but not as badass as this motherfucker right here. This dude was as cool as it comes. One, Josh Cholin. Josh, how you doing, man? It's been a minute.
Yeah, man, it's been a long time. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually kind of excited because this is the first time I actually have a Bears fan on, and I wanted to do the last 2 years, but unfortunately, you didn't have first rounders because we
Yeah,
had to give up. We had to give up Mac, and I'm see that you guys are enjoying them, and I'm glad you guys are enjoying them because
yeah, I couldn't be.
he's a bad motherfucker. That dude is Khalil Mack is something, man. It looks like he's having fun in Chicago.
Yeah, he's definitely been a great asset for us. I mean, we definitely could have used those first rounders, but I wouldn't change the pick or the trade that we did for him.
Nah, not for a generational pass rusher like him. No way. Though that's totally worth two first rounders. That's easy. You
Yep.
know what I mean? It all works out. It's like I always tell you. It's like you got Khalil Mack, we got Josh Jacobs out of it. All right, we cool. Like all right, we cool with it.
The first
I
round
guess
worked out.
yeah. A fair is fair, I guess. But no, I mean, like I said, it's the first time. You're the first ever guest for the Chicago Bears, so I do appreciate that. I do appreciate you coming on. I know you're coming all the way from Washington right now, so I know that's got to be. I know the weather out there must be pretty on and off.
It was nice today. It was a sunny day. We're
Now,
getting it.
and then tomorrow, totally rainy. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, it's a pretty simple concept for the people that are just tuning in for the first time. We're going to recap their draft picks from last year. We're also going to talk about the season that they had, what went right, unfortunately, what went wrong. We're going to try to stay positive about it. Talk about the free agency class that, if you want to call it a free agency class, because it seems like no teams really did anything significant to help their rosters whatsoever. And then we'll just predict it, our first round picks for this team. So whenever you are, Josh, you ready to dive right into it?
Yeah, I'm good, man.
All right, let's do this. So, as we mentioned, you didn't have a first rounder last year because that was it. The Khalil Mack trade is now officially done. It's in the wash. That's it. It's over. So you guys didn't pick until the second round. Your first second round pick, it was Cole Kemet, the tight end out of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Thoughts? Any I didn't really him coming out. I thought he was a decent tight end. I didn't see second rounder.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. I was like, well, if you're gonna be a tight end, if you're gonna be selected, whether in the first or the second, you gotta be like lights out of the water. Like you gotta be like a sore thumb. You gotta like just stick out because it takes a very long time for tight ends to even become decent in the NFL.
Yeah.
And I didn't see that. I mean, what did you think? As a Bears fan, were you okay with it? How did he look in the Bears uniform?
So I try not to give him too bad of a grade. He didn't come out hot like I kind of expected him as a second rounder, but I think he also got overshadowed by the Jimmy Graham signing before he got there. And so since they paid Jimmy Graham, they had to give him the playing time at the beginning. And then Jimmy Graham was doing well, especially in the red zone. So he got a lot of the opportunities that he would have if Jimmy Graham wasn't there. So I'm hoping this year can maybe be that breakout season for him. I don't want to give him a bad grade yet. I think I'm 50-50 on him. I'm hopeful still that he has the talent to kind of put it together.
If I were to grade him, I would say incomplete because you are right. The Jimmy Graham was kind of like the overshadowing, to say the least. So maybe, there wasn't enough snaps for him. And, to be fair, for a tight end in the NFL, the snaps are very limited unless you're like elite, then you're out there. But if you're just, just a solid tight end, like you're out there, but it's like for the ball to come your way, very rare. Very rare. Now Now, the second round pick, I was actually surprised because I thought this dude was going to be a surprise first rounder. But for him to last to 50, Jalen Johnson, I was like, man, how the hell did the Bears get so lucky on getting Jalen Johnson at 50? I was like, what? How did this happen?
Like I was completely surprised, but definitely satisfied with that pick. When we picked him up, I was happy, and then he didn't disappoint in the season as a rookie. I mean, he made a few mistakes, but as a rookie, he was playing exceptionally well. So I think that played into the part of the Bears kind of letting go.
Kendall Fuller.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that was a part of it too, because, and not to say that Kendall's old, but it's just like, well, if you're getting a corner that's kind of cheaper and that can, the potential's there, why not? Why not? I mean, this guy had first round intangibles, the height, the weight, the speed, and for him to fall into the second, that was kind of like a gimme. Yep. That was like a thank you to the rest of the NFL. Like, hey, you gave us a starting corner day one, so thanks.
Yeah, definitely.
For super cheap. So, and then it was kind of weird. The draft class after that, you guys kind of took a little bit of a dip because you guys didn't select until the 5th round again.
Yep.
And that was just because of the other trades that that was in between with Mac and somebody else, and it was just with the whole Nick Foles thing. It was just like it was just a weird draft for the Bears entirely. It's like, oh, well, here's their second pick. Okay, we'll see you round 5, man. Like, what?
In a couple of days.
You're like, all right, see you tomorrow, man. But overall, I thought it was like good depth. Travis Gibson, defensive end, outside linebacker out of Tulsa. It's and I always tell people this, it's very hard, especially when you have a defensive team like the Bears, to get some snaps because when you look at the starters for Chicago, it's like, well, whose snaps are you going to take away? You ain't taking away Max. You're not going to take away Hakeem Nicks. You're not going to take away, Fuller. You're not going to take away any of these guys. So it's like, what are you going to do? So it's just one of those things where it's just like, yeah, I mean, good rotational guy in some packages, but it's going to be a win before it's like, let's see if you can be pushed to be a starter. If not, good rotational piece.
Yeah, I feel the same.
It's just, and then, your second, 5th round pick, Kendall Vildor out of Georgia Southern. Look, Kyle Fuller, Jalen Johnson, those were your starters.
Yeah, they held.
Sorry, man. Do you like special teams? Because that's where your first year is going, man. Because you're not going to start.
He could develop into a good slot corner.
Yeah.
And we'll just have time will tell. And he might get more snaps this year with Fuller leaving.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think a lot of these guys, I think what majority of the fan bases, the unrealistic fans of the fan bases, there's one in every single one of them. They want every pick to be the next Hall of Famer. Every single pick, they want to be all. And it's like, look, it doesn't work out that way, man. Like, you got to be realistic. There's a reason why these guys are in the 5th round, 6th, 7th round. Like, there's a reason for it. Now, some of them, taken in the 5th, 6th, 7th, they have 13-year careers. Some are taking them in the first 3. They're out of the league by their 6th year. You just never know. And, it's like I mentioned in yesterday's video. You're just drafting potential. That's all you're doing. Like, not every single one of them is going to be a Hall of Famer, but you're just drafting potential. And in his case, it was just like, hey, look, man, you got Kendall Fuller on one side, you got Jalen Johnson on the other. Yep. I'm sorry, man. You ain't getting snaps, You're not getting snaps. So, and especially with no preseason, that hurts even more. So that kills it even more.
There was no chance to grade him and try to get him in there.
No. And it wasn't fair to any of the rookies this past year. It was hard because no preseason, weird training camp. You're not gonna know until you know. So,
yep.
And then your last 5th rounder, Darnell Mooney, wide receiver out of Tulane. Unfortunately, special teams ace again. It's just, look, Allen Robinson's there, Jimmy Graham's there, and majority of the snaps went to David Montgomery, who's a really good running back. So I'm sorry, man. It's just not going to be there for you.
Yeah. Well, he actually got a lot more playing time than some of the other rookies.
Yeah, he did.
Especially in our receiving class. he started kind of taking over where Anthony Miller kind of was falling short, and I believe he can be that
Number two. He could be that. He could be that solid two. It's
deep
just
threat.
it's just like, well, was it due to the fact that Anthony Miller wasn't cutting out, or was it to the fact that maybe he is better than we all think? So it's going to be interesting. I really want to see the progression in this year's training camps.
I do.
I really do.
He
I mean,
a lot, and Trubisky.
everybody can complain. Everybody can say what they want. Like, preseason doesn't matter. No, it matters. Oh, it matters. Trust me. Because if your starter goes down, you're going to want to know who's out there. You're going to want to know. So
I'm hoping this year, like, he has a really good year, because he showed a lot of promise last year when he did get his opportunities and his reps. And then whoever we have play quarterback this year, whoever we have, if they can hit him, I think he can be that home run threat, because he was open a lot on deep balls last year, and they just kept missing him.
Yeah, he's got the speed to get away. He really does. He's really got the speed to get away, and it showed during Senior Bowl. That's what everybody kept saying. It's like, hey, look, man, he knows how to get separation, and yeah, he's never going to beat anybody in the biggest competition.
Yeah.
He's never going to be the biggest dude in the room, but I mean, as long as he's got the heart for it to take, the hits, for the deep balls, and hey, man, you know what? I'll take that guy any day. I'll take that guy any day.
Absolutely.
So, we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see how he looks. Hopefully, with this weird it looks like another weird off season. I hope there's preseason just to kind of see, like, hey, man, did he stay up to task, or is it like, oh man,
yeah,
like
what you last year had.
Yeah, because you never want to see that, because it's like, as a fan, you always get excited when like a fifth rounder is like, oh, he's got promise, and then the next year it's kind of like, oh, okay, never mind. Like, damn it.
That's where I'm at right now. I'm that hopeful fan.
Yeah, because that's how I felt with Max Crosby. His rookie year was like, oh man. Yeah. And then his second year, he showed that, okay, cool, he can be the pass rusher we all think he can be. It's like, oh, this is great. We got a pass rusher in the 4th round. Nice. I love it.
Yep.
Those are the ones you always kind of cheer for, because you expect your first rounders or second rounders to, hey, man, no, you better fucking start. Like, I don't give a fuck. You better fucking start. We didn't waste the first rounder for nothing. But when you get like that little extra juice from your 4th, 5th rounders, you're like, yeah, that's when you know your draft class was successful. That's when you know you had a good draft class. If your whole class can contribute in some ways.
Yeah, agreed.
And then, 7th rounders, you guys went back to, it was no surprise. We kind of know the emphasis of the Chicago Bears. Offensive line, Kyle Long said goodbye.
Yep.
And then he came back this offseason. He signed with the Chiefs. I don't know where the hell that came from, but nobody knew. Nobody knew what the hell was going on. So I was like, all right. So you guys went back-to-back linemen. Just depth at this point. I mean, you got the Arlington Hambright from Colorado, and then Lachavious Simone from Tennessee State.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just depth at this point. And
yeah, it wasn't special. It was just get players that maybe can turn out to be something.
And that's it. I mean, because like I said, the retirement of Kyle Long really did kind of hinder, especially on the right side. It was kind of like, but
our offensive line has been struggling the last couple of years, and we've had 2 different offensive line coaches. Each one they were both talented offensive line coaches, but just couldn't get any work out of them.
At some point, it's weird. It's either the players are not buying in, or the coaches they don't know how to use the players, and sometimes it's a combination of both, it's just, I mean, look, we've been in a profession where sometimes, like, hey, man, sometimes your guys just don't think your mentality is good. And sometimes you just have terrible teammates, Yep. And sometimes it's a combination of both. I mean, in our profession, when we saw it all the time, we saw it all the time,
Yep.
And it's just.
Sometimes you've got turds that are with you.
And that's it. Like,
the message you're sending out isn't being received.
There's no rocket science to this. It's either going to work or it's not. Like, that's it. So it's, it is what it is. But you guys went in. That was your draft class. No preseason. So everybody was kind of like, well, a couple of years ago, the Bears were looking like one of the most promising teams out there.
Yeah.
And then last year was kind of like or the year before that, it was kind of like, they kind of dipped. Was it because of the Mac contract? Everybody, the defense is getting paid high. What's going on? And then this year, 8-8.
Yeah.
Second in the division. Look, man, it's the Packers. What are you going to do, bro?
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Well, we definitely can't compete with the Packers without a quarterback.
No, nobody in that division can. Nobody. You gotta have what the Packers have: a great quarterback and a solid defense. You got that, you're fine.
Yep.
You're fine. But yeah, it's like, look, man, it's the Packers. What are you gonna do? Back-to-back NFC Championship games. You can't be mad at that. Yeah. If that's who you're losing to, you can't be that mad.
I can be mad.
Well, you can be mad as a fan. Me personally, it's just like, man, I want to be the Packers so bad. I want to be in their spot. I want to be in their spot. Like, obviously not get dominated in the NFC Championship game, but I want to go to a championship game. Shit.
Yeah, agreed on that. Yeah.
But 8-8, nobody saw that coming, and it was weird because I thought, in my opinion, Mitchell Trubisky wasn't the best, but he wasn't like, the worst. It's just the talent around him was, it wasn't up to what the rest of the division could offer at that point. Because when you look at the rest of the division, obviously you look at the Packers, they got Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones, and then they got that great defense with Zadarius Smith or the Smith brothers, Kenny Clark. It's just impossible. Even in Minnesota, Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, it's like, hell, we all know Kirk Cousins is a middle-of-the-road quarterback, but it's like, well, he looks good because look what's around him.
Yeah.
And then now, Matthew Stafford was like the bread and butter of Detroit, but now he's gone. And so we'll see what happens there. But it's just hard to compete in that division, especially against the Packers. But for me, I don't know why Nagy said, hey, we got to do a switch. I know you guys were paying Nick Foles some top dollar money to be the backup, but in your opinion, I thought it wasn't worth doing the switch at that point when you guys were looking even.
Yeah. I don't think so either. Like, hindsight's always 20/20. I wasn't completely upset when he switched, but I also didn't see it at that point, like why he did it at that. I think that the contract played probably a little part in it, where Trubisky was like kind of, up and down, and so
he was a roller coaster. He was a roller coaster, yeah.
So then the coach Nagy, he probably got a little pressure, like, hey, Trubisky's playing 50-50 right now. We're paying this other guy a lot of money. Like, give him a shot. And then that's what happened. And I think the season maybe would have went a little better had we just rolled the roller coaster of Trubisky. But maybe not, because it could have been worse. Like, maybe he had a really rough patch. And
that's the thing. It's like you said, hindsight's 20/20. And, I always love hearing that too, like from everybody. It's like, man, if we would have done this, we would have won a couple more games. It's like, yeah, but if the other teams did a couple more things too, you guys would have had a couple more losses. So really what it comes down to, football really, and that's just what I tell everybody, football really is a week-to-week and a year-to-year basis, because you don't know what you're getting into until that whistle blows, because you don't know what the hell is going to happen. Like, you do not know. And that's why it's like, to me, it's the most entertaining, because it's like, well, you don't know what's going to happen. What if the team just has an off week? It happens. It happens all the time.
And then what if the worst team in the league could have the best game of the season?
Well, yeah. Look at the Jets. They beat the Rams, and the Rams were like smoking hot, and they're like, all right, let's do this. And then they ended up giving the Jets their first win of the year, and I'm like, what happened there? I lost out on $50 on that game, by the way. I thought the Jets for sure were going to go 0-16. God damn it.
Yeah.
It happens.
They were looking
almost, but it was just weird. Like, Chicago was just, I don't know. I really don't know, because it was like, I understand losing Vic Fangio was one thing, but it's like, I thought, the talent on the defense would at least overcome that loss, because Vic Fangio is a mastermind on defense. Like, he knows what he's doing. He has no problem. I just thought, the talent with everything around there with a Khalil Mack, an Akeem Hicks, an Eddie Jackson, a Kyle Fuller, hell, even a rookie like Jalen Johnson, I thought the talent was there enough, Roquan Smith, to be like, hey, I know we lost Vic Fangio, but we can overcome this. We got the talent to keep it moving.
Yeah.
And it seems like they couldn't. Like, they kind of took like a step backwards, then forward, and I'm just like, well, what the hell's going on?
I think one of the biggest issues was turnovers. With Vic Fangio, they were getting a lot of turnovers. And then, so I don't think our defense struggled as near as much as it looks like that-wise, but because of the turnovers, it did. And so we didn't get the turnovers, so they were on the field a lot more. And then the turnovers hurt us additionally on offense because we didn't have as many opportunities on offense.
Exactly. And that's the thing, too. I mean, look, I know for a fact that the Chicago Bears defense, they are not the 14th best defense in the NFL.
Yeah.
You can ask general managers and you can do a poll on fan bases. If you were to tell them, hey, man, would you believe me that the Chicago Bears finished 14th overall in defense? I think a lot of people would have told you that you're high. Like, there's no way. And you're right. The turnovers are one thing because, that's the thing. It's like, it's great to get the quarterback sacks. It's great to stop the runs. But if you can create turnovers, that's where the money's at.
Yep.
It's like, great. Sacks are great, but does he still have the ball? Then they still have a shot to get that first down. It doesn't really matter. Now, if you do a sack, strip sack and you recover the fumble, that's even better.
Yep.
It's like, I would rather have it, and I've always said this, and people look at me like it's crazy. It's like, I'd rather have a team where the whole year they get 20 sacks. That's one per game. But I'd rather have 30 turnovers the whole year.
Yep.
Just because now I'm giving my offense another possession. Yep. One more possession than they would averagely have in an average game.
Yep. Turnovers definitely would have helped us, and then our offense doing a lot of 3-and-outs didn't help either. Our defense was on the field a lot, so eventually your defense gets tired. Like,
I mean, look, you can have the 2000 Baltimore Ravens, you can have the 2002 Buccaneers, the Legion of Boom, the Buccaneers defense this year, and then your guys' defense a couple years ago. If your team is one of the highest teams that always goes 3-and-out, I don't care how talented that defense is. I don't care how great that defense is. Eventually, it's like a boxing fight. One too many shots to the stomach, you're going to go down eventually. Yep. You're going to get tired, and it's going to be over. And then it's like, well, now what are we good for?
Yeah, and that's what it seemed like it happened a lot of times. We'd be in close games, and then all of a sudden in the second half, they start taking off from us because our defense couldn't hold anymore, and our offense wasn't doing it.
Yeah, it is frustrating. So 8-8, 22nd on offense, not a surprise. The one bright spot, though, a couple bright spots. Number one, Allen Robinson.
Yep.
Amazing wide receiver. Talented, very talented.
He knows how to get.
Surprisingly, David Montgomery, that dude is something. That dude can play.
I'm looking forward to this year because I think he's going to come out even hotter this year.
This should be his breakout year. This should be the year where I think everybody's going to finally know David Montgomery at least. Yeah, his rookie year was okay. This past year was good. This year should be the year where it's like, okay, this dude can, flat out. And I believe he can. I believe he can do it.
I think he will, as long as our offensive line gets a little better.
Hold.
Gets a little better. Can hold and then create some holes for him. I think it's going to be his year this year.
Oh, absolutely. So, you guys going to obviously wild card, not a good spot.
Yeah.
The Saints were Super Bowl favorites at one point, and it just showed 21-9. That was kind of the end. And again, you couldn't. Once you get to that late in the season, you can't hide your deficiencies. Good defense, but as long as you can contain the offense, we'll get them.
We couldn't score. Yep.
It's like 3 field goals, and especially in New Orleans where it's so so loud, and it's just even with the little limited fans that they did have, it was still like, yeah, there's no way. Yeah, no way we can. No,
we didn't have the offense to compete.
No, especially that Saints offense. That was no way. So season's over. Back to the drawing board. It's like, okay, we know what the problem is. It's offense. It's got to be offense, and so free agency starts, and like I said, it seems like the Bears kind of took a hit more than what they received.
Yeah.
Roy Roberts, he's now a Jaguar. Kyle Fuller, he's now freaking Denver, and I'm not really too happy about that because it's like, oh, shit, okay. Because I know he can play, so I'm just kind of like, shit, he's in Denver. And I know
Vic Fangio.
Yeah, so I'm like, shit, I know
he had his best season with Fangio when he was in Chicago. He had, I think it was like eight interceptions that year.
Yeah, something like that. 8 interceptions, 7, 8, something like that. So I'm just like, man, I knew that. I felt like that was going to happen, but I was like, please don't let it be Denver. Anybody but Denver. And sure enough, like you guys released him, and then like 3 hours later, he's like, hey, man, I'm coming to Denver right now. See you later.
Yeah.
Get my contract ready. I'll sign. And then Mitchell Trubisky is now a Bill, and I think the saddest part is no matter what he does now, good or bad, he's always going to be known as the the quarterback that was taken before Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
That's not to fault of his own, because he didn't demand to get number 2. He didn't ask to be picked number 2. It was, hey, they believed in me, and all I could do was go out there and show what I got. He didn't ask for this. It's just now it's like his whole career, it's like, oh, well, you were the guy taken before, or, you were picked, and then the 2 quarterbacks after were Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Like, that's his career now.
It sucks. And I mean, that I was watching that draft while I was at like an event, and I seen that we were the second pick wasn't done yet, and I was like, what's holding them up? And then all of a sudden I seen we had the second pick, and I was like, well, we got the third. Why would we move up 1 pick? Like,
yeah, I remember vividly,
because I was hoping that we took Mahomes even before I knew what Mahomes.
Well, the big thing, I thought for sure the first quarterback that was going to be taken was Deshaun Watson. I mean, at that time, come on, national champion. Yeah. The dude's a winner. He's got all the intangibles. And it's like, oh, it's got to be Deshaun. When I thought you guys went up, I'm like, oh, it's Deshaun Watson. Yeah. It has to be. It has to be Deshaun. And then when I saw Mitchell Trubisky, I was like, I mean, okay.
I didn't understand it either. I was hoping for Mahomes, but I think what scared the Bears was during the draft and all the time leading up to it, he had a lot of comparisons to Cutler. He had a lot of comparisons as like he had the arm strength, but everybody's worried about everything else, his leadership, his intangibles, but he had a cannon. And so
I see it twice a year. Trust me. He's got a cannon. Oh yeah.
But the Bears, I think that's what scared the Bears off, was he was getting comparisons to Cutler. Cutler had a cannon, but he didn't have a lot of the intangibles. So I think maybe that's why they went, maybe in their minds, a safer bet with Trubisky.
It's just, I mean, because Trubisky up until that point, he was catching a lot of steam. Mm-hmm. And, I was like, well, I mean, it's not like he's a bad quarterback. It's just number 2.
Number 2, and he only played 1 year of college.
Yeah, that's why I was kind of like, if it was in the second round, I wouldn't be too upset. But the fact that he went number 2 overall, I was like,
yeah,
okay. Like I thought at that time, I'm like, hey, look, man, we can't judge this pick right now because maybe Chicago knows something that we don't. Who knows? Maybe they know something we don't. But then, 20, like you say, hindsight's 20/20. He's now a Buffalo Bill. I mean,
didn't pan out, but I mean, some of it I would say maybe he wasn't used to his strengths, and maybe it would have helped if that he was used that way a little bit better. But overall, like there would be.
I have these conversations with my brother a lot when it comes to quarterback evaluating during the draft, and and like I said yesterday, the quarterback position during the draft, it is the easiest to criticize, but the hardest to evaluate because it's so easy to nitpick things here and there. Well, he doesn't have the arm strength, or he's not tall enough. His base is off. And it's like, really, what's the perfect quarterback?
Yeah.
Like, what is the perfect quarterback? I mean, Tom Brady was taken in the 6th round. Aaron Rodgers was picked 24.
Yep.
Big Ben had to wait till 20. I mean, what's the perfect quarterback? We don't know. Like, what do we know?
There is no perfect quarterback. There's
the only 2 perfect quarterbacks in my life that I ever saw during the prospect, and this is going to be funny, Jamarcus Russell and Andrew Luck. I mean, so what's the perfect quarterback? We don't know, but it's so easy to criticize, but it's so hard to evaluate because it's like everybody's got a preference of what they want for a quarterback. So it's hard. It's just hard.
Come here. Yeah, it is.
So like I said, the 2 best I've ever seen in a pro day, Jamarcus Russell, Andrew Luck. Now you tell me, like you tell me.
Andrew Luck was there until he dealt with injuries. He's right there.
Yeah, well, until freaking Indianapolis decided to finally build a line a year after he retires. Like, oh, nicely done.
Right.
And then but on the flip side, you guys did get some good free agents, I would say. Desmond Trufant, obviously not a household name, but crafty veteran. All right. I mean, to be 31 and to still be a starter in the NFL, you got to be doing something right.
Yeah.
Damian
help teach Johnson a little bit since he left, and then he'll either come in and be the opposite beside him, or he'll mentor the other guys. So, solid pick.
Damian Williams, I think that's going to be a great 1-2 combo.
Yeah.
Because now you got the hard runner, and then you got the athlete at running back too, where it's like, hey man, if it's 3rd and long, we can do screens, we can do your wheel routes, and then we can just use you as a decoy. So I'm like, all right, well, I thought that was an interesting pickup. I'm like, oh, this is actually going to help.
I think because of our other running back, he was out all last season, so they didn't want to be in that predicament anymore.
Yeah, I like Tariq Cohen, but it's just like, eesh. Like, hey, man, we got to just have some security insurance just in case. And then, obviously, I mean, well, the general manager of the Bears already said it. Andy Dalton is the starter, and that's your new starting quarterback, Andy Dalton.
For now.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see, because it's like, well, I mean, good run in Cincinnati. I mean, for a franchise that was down for so long. Because, I mean, before the Palmer injury, it looked like Cincinnati found their guy in Palmer, and then that freak injury during the playoff game, I was like, he was kind of never the same up until he got to Arizona. And, so for what Andy Dalton did for the whole organization of Cincinnati, it's like, hey, look, man, you did other than what Boomer Esiason could do, and that was give the fan base hope.
Yeah.
You did your job, man. You did your job.
I'm not with the pick with him getting selected with us. He definitely, I mean, he had AJ Green, so maybe that helped him a little bit more, but I think he was equally good. Like, he's not the superstar quarterback, but he's better and he's more steady than what we've had. And so I think he can come in and help us.
Like, let's put it this way. If we were to look at every starting quarterback, he wouldn't be at the bottom of the barrel. Let's put it this way. He wouldn't be at the bottom of the barrel.
He would be I'd say maybe top 15, 20.
Yeah, like he's in the middle.
Yeah.
Like, hey, look, man, if you're a good team and you're a young team that's got to, like, if you're Washington, for example, you got a young defense that's ready to go. You got some offensive pieces ready to go. All you need is just a veteran quarterback to just do the little things.
Yeah.
Okay, that's Andy Dalton. Perfect. That's great. It's like what Washington did with Ryan Fitzpatrick. Hey, look, man, we got a young defense and we got some offensive weapons. Okay, let's just get Ryan Fitzpatrick. Screw it. Yeah. Let's just get a crafty veteran.
Put him in to hold us over.
That's it. That's all we need. We just need somebody just to hold us down. Hold us down, man. And then that was it. I mean, really, everything else was just trying to find your replacements. Elijah Wilkinson, he's going to replace Kyle Long now. Yep. Jeremiah Tuchu, he's coming in. Angelo Blackson and Christian Jones, the linebacker out of Detroit's coming in now. So really, what it comes down to, it's, what do the Bears really need? Obviously, the defense is going to be there. The defense is the defense,
Yep.
and I'm not really concerned about it. Like, if I think if I'm in the Chicago organizations, the defense is like the last thing I'm worried about. It's like, yeah, maybe they can use another piece, but really, you're fine. It's just for me, really, offensively is where, man, they got to go. They got to.
They
They got
help.
to. I'm not saying they have to be great like the defense, but they have to be equally as talented to give this team a shot to compete, to at least compete for the division.
We don't need a superstar offense like KC because we have a really good defense, but we need a serviceable offense. We need an offense that can do long drives, that can burn up the clock, and I think offensive line help is where we get with that because we got the running back. We've got pretty good wide receivers. We need offensive line, and then we got Palmer, or not Palmer. We talk about Palmer.
You got Dalton. You
We
got
got.
Dalton.
I think we can turn into that serviceable offense right now to support the defense, where then our defense can start to shine again.
And not only that, it's like, look, even if they don't get the turnovers, even if the defense doesn't get the turnovers and your offense just can sustain long drives and the defense is just chilling on the bench, just resting and just doing their thing, then it's all good. It's all fine and dandy. Because that's really what it comes down to. It's just a defense like that should not be on the field for that long.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way where it's like, oh my God, we've been on the field for 40 fucking minutes. There's no way. Like, why are we on the field for 40 minutes? Because our offense keeps going 3 and out. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, this is getting to the point where it's getting ridiculous. So, yeah, I mean, other than that, we know the weaknesses. We know the strengths. So, all right, Josh, lay it on me. Pick 20. Who are the Bears taking?
Who I want them to take?
Yeah, who would you want the Bears to take?
Offensive tackle, Tevin Jenkins.
You know what's funny? Because that's exactly who I have you guys taken to at number 20. That dude, my brother had him. I had my brother on Sunday, and he would love the Raiders to take him at 17. This dude is just mean, and mean all around.
We need that on our offensive line. And there's so much talk about us selling the farm to move up to the 4th pick with the Falcons. And it's just going to set us back a couple more years because we're going to have to give up 2-3 first-round picks to get up there. And everybody's saying move up to the 4th to try to get Justin Fields or the quarterback there. I don't want to do that. Like,
no.
We take offensive tackle, get our offensive line fixed with him, and then with Tevin Jenkins, and then we address quarterback in the second. I think I don't want to jump to the second right now, but I think we take Trask in the second. We take Trask in the second.
There's some good names. There are some really good names for quarterback wise this year because there could be a chance that Trey Lance could fall into the second depending on how he does in his interviews and his pro day. Kyle Trask could be there. Even the guy from Texas A&M, Kellen Mond, could be there. Yep. And now, granted, are they Trevor Lawrence? Are they Zach Wilson? Are they, Justin Fields? We don't know because, like we said earlier, we don't know what the perfect quarterback is. So if the Bears are there at 20, and if you feel comfortable taking a quarterback at 20, then you better make sure it's the right one. You better make it because you just went through the whole Mitchell Trubisky era. And your general manager cannot afford another quarterback mishap. He can't afford it.
He can't.
So and that's why I agree with you. At this point, it's got to be BPA. And I think Tevin Jenkins would fit the Bears, and he would fix the Bears' offensive line immediately. Because this dude is an athlete. You can plug him at the left. You can plug him at the right. And if you plug him at the left, you can move Charles Leno inside, and now you kind of have strong bases now to where, hey, man, you can start shuffling around, and now you can get the most out of your talent.
I think he would be an instant starter for us. Like, he would definitely upgrade the team. He's going to help the running game. He's going to help the passing game. He's going to help the offense in general. And I don't see why we would try to sell the farm to move up to get a quarterback if we signed Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton's a serviceable veteran, and if we take a quarterback in the second or third round, he can mentor that guy, and maybe that guy can be the next quarterback that we have.
I could understand selling up the farm if like you guys like had, not to say that if you guys have better weapons, but if your whole offensive unit was like ready to go now. Like I can understand Washington going up because that offensive unit is ready to go now. They got the tight end, they got the wide receiver, they got the running back, and you know, they got everything. They just need the quarterback. I can understand if you're like, I don't know, I mean, if you're New England, you upgraded your whole offense and your defense is coming back. I can understand New England going up because it's like, hey, look, Cam's good. How many more years does he really have though?
Yeah.
You know, so I can understand. I can understand at that point. For Chicago's case, it's like, look, Anthony Miller's awesome. David Montgomery, he's a breakout candidate of the year. Other than that, really, it's all potential at this point. So I do read the articles of, you know, hey, let's the Chicago Bears trade up to 4. It's like, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it makes sense. Like, I could see if you're going after the top guy. Like, if you got the top guy and you're going to move all the way up to the first to get him, all right, pull the trigger if that's what you need. But we're just going to try to move up to the 4th to try to get the 4th quarterback or maybe the 3rd quarterback, depending on how it shakes out up there.
No, it's proven now. It's going to be 3 straight quarterbacks. But yeah, I'm like I said, to me, the draft starts now at pick number 4. That's where the draft starts now. So, unless San Francisco does something crazy, you know.
That's what I don't agree with. I don't want the Bears to sell the farm to get the 4th best quarterback in the draft.
At that point, stick to 20, BPA, best player available, and if Tevin Jenkins is there at 20, I don't see why not.
Yeah, take it.
I don't see. I mean, I really have nothing bad to say other than, yeah, you know, there are times he does kind of play upright and he kind of does lose his balance a little bit. But I think with the coach, the offensive line coach that you guys have, I'm sure that's an easy, you know, NFL fix. That's an easy fix. Like, you can hide those deficiencies in the NFL really fast.
And eventually he's going to learn that he can't do that.
No, I mean, because, like I said, he's going to have to go up against Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith, twice a year. You know, there's the Vikings defense with Anthony Barr, Eric Hendricks. They're going to be coming at him. So it's like, you want to stand upright? There you go. There you go. Like, what did we learn? Like, what did you learn? Sit down. Okay. But I got nothing bad to say about Tevin Jenkins. And look, man, 6'6", 320, they don't make those anymore. they don't make those. So
big dude.
And, you know, the thing is, it's like, the only negative I do read up on him is like, well, we really don't know where to play him. Isn't that the kind of offensive lineman you want, though?
Yeah.
You can, like, you don't know where to play him. Well, that's easy. Try him everywhere until you figure out where he's good at and leave him there.
Yep.
Because I don't. There's some coaches out there that just overthink it. It's like, well, like, no, man, don't overthink it. It's just find a place for him. Like, just find a place for him. Like, come on, dude. Like, really? And that's what they said about Mac when he was coming out. It's like, well, yeah, but is he a linebacker or is he defensive end? He's both.
Yeah, right? He can cover. Like, he's fast for a big dude.
So it's like, what are you talking about?
Yep.
He's both. I don't understand the problem. You know, like, I remember when he was coming out, and I remember it's like, well, I will say this. The only 2 guys I would want in this draft at this point is either Aaron Donald or Khalil Mack. So when we took Mack, I'm like, oh, I'm happy with it. My brother was pissed, but I was like, oh, just give it a couple seasons. And sure enough, it was like, oh, you love him now, huh? I mean,
I love him.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure you do. I mean, to be the only player in NFL history to be an all-pro at defensive end and linebacker in the same year.
Yep.
That's where a lot of people don't realize, like, how talented and how special that man is.
Yep.
That dude won. He was a first team all-pro at 2 positions in the same year.
Yep.
There's only 11 starters on that defense, and he took 2 spots. That's where it's like, guys, enjoy Khalil Mack as a whole. And I tell my friends, Raider fans all the time, it's like, well, fuck him. Like, no, don't say that. Like, enjoy it. Because what we're seeing, it's going to be a very long time until we see something like that. Like Aaron Donald, enjoy that. Because, oh my God, that dude is like, like before this, it was like, well, we got to find the next Warren Sapp. No, not anymore. Everybody's trying to find the next Aaron Donald now. That's when you know. Yep. That's when you know you made it in the NFL, when they're using your name to find the next you.
To be an offensive lineman and do what he does is crazy.
Yeah, for Donald, yeah, the defensive line dude, that dude is
defensive line. Yeah,
yeah, that dude is like,
yeah,
no, he's something. I'm like, wow, this guy's and I mean, his only negative was that he was only 6'1". Okay. Okay, sure. Yeah, give me that guy. I'll take more of those guys. Give me those guys, man. Like shit. Because yeah, no, that's too crazy. But no, I'm glad I finally glad that I found a guest where it's like, oh great, we think alike. Tevin Jenkins at 20. Perfect. Yeah. That's gonna make everything out so much easier.
Yeah. There's nothing to argue about it. Like I don't know. A lot of people wrapped up.
It would be weird. It's like that's a player where I know if you look at him, if people right now that are seeing you're Googling him right now, it's like that guy. I know he doesn't look like much, but just put on the tape and you'll see why. Where it's like if he's there at 20, whoever's on that phone, just hand that card to the commissioner right there. Like don't even leave the podium. Just like, hey man, stay back there. Here's our card. Announce the pick. We want him over here now.
Yeah, we already know who we need.
Yeah, we're good. Just, hey, we're good. We're good.
It's when the best player available meets our highest need or one of our highest needs. It just makes sense.
And that's the thing. It's just like with the draft, it's like, yeah, as fans, it makes sense, but it's just with the GM and the staff, it's like, it's like, don't overthink it. You know your need. You know he's there. Come on. Just do it. Just do the pick. It's easy as that. But what do I know? I'm just the guy that sits on a chair that discussed this. What do I know, right?
And I'm a fan over here that's salty sometimes.
I don't know. I feel you. I feel you on that. But other than that, Josh, I thank you so much, my man. I really do appreciate it. I hope you and your family are doing well in Washington. Remember, week 17, the Bears are coming to Nevada, so get your flight now. I got your tickets ready to go for the game. We'll have a couple of beers inside the stadium, all right?
I appreciate that. I just hope you're not too upset when we win.
Well, that's what you guys said about England, all right? That's what was going to happen. And what happened there? What happened?
That's the fact.
Oh, that was international water, so that doesn't count? That don't count? Okay, it only counts in the U.S. Got it.
The refs.
Okay, it counts in the U.S. though. All right, I got it. All right, Josh, I appreciate it, my man. You have yourself a wonderful night, and I will talk to you later, all right?
Thank you. I hope your family's doing well, too.
All right, thank you, my man. Take care now.
Bye.
All right, and that was my good friend, Josh. Yeah, like I said, it's an old Army buddy of mine, and it's always cool to talk football with him, and he's really energetic. He's a really cool dude, so I want to thank him for joining today. I want to thank everybody that did join us today. Tomorrow, what do we got tomorrow? I think it is the Titans. Yep. I believe it's the Titans. I know it's somebody. I keep mixing it up. I don't know if it's the Jets or the Titans, but it's one of those guys. But we're going to talk about it tomorrow. Like I said, it's going to be fun. I do appreciate everybody that did tune in today, that enjoyed the live stream. I want to thank everybody for their beautiful comments. And as always, just check in, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we will talk to you guys tomorrow. Take care now.